Good morning. This is a special morning because usually you catch me on Friday mornings, but today we're going to, compliments of Dr. or Minister Malik Shabazz, we're going to be doing a special presentation here for the next hour or so. And I have two co-hosts with me today, and this is special for many reasons, and we'll talk about it in just a moment. Let's have them introduce themselves.
Good morning. My name is Cheryl Ajmu. I am the founder and CEO of the Ajmu Group, and we produce the Multicultural Media Luncheon, which is why we're here today.
Right.
I'm Ellis Liddell, president of ELE Wealth Management, and I've been honored to sit with Cheryl and Ms. Perryman on many occasions. I'm known in town as your financial advisor.
And he sure is that, and we'll talk about that even later on in the show. But this morning, we're going to first talk to Mr. Zafar Brooks. He is the Director of Corporate Social Responsibility and Diversity Inclusion for Hyundai, right? Hyundai. Hyundai is one of the major sponsors.
Presenting sponsor for the Multicultural Media Luncheon. Let me just give you a little background about the luncheon. It's been around for 6 years. It's part of the North American International Auto Show, and it's an Academy Award style program that honors ethnic groups in the automotive industry. And then I bring in a celebrity keynote speaker to talk about marketing and branding.
Well, let's mention some of your speakers you've had.
Our first speaker was Magic Johnson. That was back in 2011. We've had Damon John from Shark Tank, Kimora Lee Simmons, Stephen A. Smith, and then this year we had Keith Clinkscales, who is the creator of 30 for 30 on ESPN, but he now runs Puffy, P. Diddy, Sean Combs' network.
Whatever
Revolt
the name
Media
is this
and
year.
TV. So, and then next year, 2016, is Tim Brown, who will be calling in today. He's the keynote speaker for 2016, and he's going to talk about managing your brand's image.
And Tim Brown got inducted into the Football Hall of Fame.
NFL Hall of Fame, yes.
NFL Hall of Fame this year.
Yes.
And if you read his story, it's quite an intriguing story. You know, very bright gentleman, but
hard worker.
A very hard worker, but not only that, he was on the Oakland Raiders, where the owner of the Oakland Raiders wasn't that keen on black football players, especially black intelligent football players. You know, that was just a weird thing. So we will be talking to Mr. Brooks in just a minute, but Cheryl, I want to ask a few questions about the event. You're having it at the Book Cadillac Hotel?
Yes, that's been the location since its inception. So they've been really great to work with. And Mr. Liddell this year, his company, ELE Wealth Management, is our small business sponsor.
Now tell me about that.
Well, me being a small business owner, I know that you always want and you dream about being able to, you know, participate in more high-profile events with Fortune 500 companies. And a lot of times small businesses don't have the budgets that large companies have. So I decided to partner with and select a small business company to give them an opportunity, and they're, you know, a sponsor just like any other sponsor, but they get a reduced rate, and they get to, you know, participate in the event. They have signage, logos, you know, they're recognized just like any other sponsorship. So it gives them an opportunity as well to get that exposure and potentially get some customers.
Well, congratulations.
Well, thank you, thank you,
Congratulations.
thank you. Let me just say this here. Magic Johnson, when he spoke for your first one, it was before he became part owners of the Dodgers and all the things that came after that. Now, don't get me wrong, he was already Magic Johnson.
Yes.
However, the things that he accomplished since speaking at your event were phenomenal, and the same is true for Damon John, the same is true for Kimora Lee. Everybody, and it's great. The thing I liked about being present in an audience was you got the chance to tie into those people's energy while they were on their way up.
Right.
You know, at that time, Magic Johnson was working on his venture capital fund, but it wasn't $1 billion yet.
Yeah.
So a lot of things phenomenal have happened. Damon John was just starting his first run at Shark Tank, and now he's a regular.
Yes.
So it's just wonderful how you recognize talent before they took off, and I'm sure the same is going to happen for Tim Brown.
Yeah, I think so too.
I think it's a great event. I was there from the beginning,
Yeah.
and we have been a media sponsor from the beginning also.
Yes, yes.
I believe in Cheryl because I know Cheryl's hard work. I know how she works, and I know she aims for success, and the fact that she brings these people in to give them the energy. In fact, I used one of Magic Johnson, something he said the other week when I was talking to someone who had a small business, and they said, well, my family's helping. I said, well, Magic Johnson says he pays his family to stay away.
Yeah.
And
Yes, he said that.
Yeah,
he
he
said
did.
that.
And he
I
just- and he
said,
justified why, yeah.
So I said, when you start feeling uncomfortable with that family
Right.
being there with your back, because you never know, as you escalate your business and you go up and it gets more of a profile, sometimes people change, and it could be your family also.
Yeah. One of my friends said this. She said that she'll fire her sister and take her to dinner.
Yeah.
But you have to understand that if you're a family, there's a greater level of expectation, not a less. In other
I
words, the
know.
bar is not lowered. The bar is actually risen as a result of being a family
right,
member.
right.
And that's what family doesn't understand. That if you get the privilege of working to build something great as family, then you've got to bring more to the table, not less.
Absolutely, absolutely. It can be difficult. It can be
Yeah.
difficult. Sometimes it could be really, really great, but you definitely want to your family's encouragement and everything. But I just thought that was funny what Magic said. He
Yeah.
said,
Yeah.
they want to help, but sometimes they don't know.
Yeah, he
how
pays
to-
them to stay away.
Right, he doesn't know.
Yeah.
They don't
Yeah.
know how to help. How are the tickets? Are you all sold out?
General admission is sold out. We've got just a few VIP tickets left, just a few. So.
How can people find out about it?
Well, you can call 248-223-0904. That's our office. Or you can go to ajamugroup.com. That's AJAMUGROUP.com. You can click on upcoming events. Or you can go to Eventbrite and just search under Multicultural Media Luncheon featuring Tim Brown. So we do have a few tickets left. It's been really a phenomenal situation. For the past 3 years, we've sold out just about every year. So I feel really blessed because you were there, and you were there at the first one.
Right.
It was, almost crickets in there. The first one, I mean, half the room was so. It wasn't a lot of people there. And, Magic Johnson kind of pulled me to the side because he knew I was kind of discouraged by it. And he said, don't focus on, the people not being there. He said, I'm going to make the event so phenomenal that they're going to wish they were there. And he
did
just that.
absolutely,
He did just
because
that.
Absolutely.
you're still vibrating off of what he gave us.
Right.
I'm still vibrating off what he gave us. So and that's the reason why I was happy to be the small business sponsor, because I get to be a part of that. I get to invite some people to come out who wouldn't have come normally, and they'll get a chance to sit in there and be in that room. And I just think the magic happens in that room. I mean, if you're a small business out there thinking about what can you do to improve, get that VIP ticket that Cheryl's talking about. Sit right up front and be able to mingle with those individuals and talk one-on-one.
Yeah.
And say, because, if I was trying to be in media, my first question to Ms. Perryman would be, what are you reading? What books are you reading? What are you filling your energy with? What are you doing so different that I could just tie into it? Well,
Right.
you get a chance to do that as a VIP.
Not only that, but the range of automotive executives that are there as well. There are car designers there, interior, exterior designer, advertising executives, people who do philanthropy for the automotive industry. And just to be in that room, you can just walk right up to anyone. Everybody seems to be, pretty open and
Everybody's
friendly.
accessible. They are accessible. Even
very
people you
accessible.
didn't think would even say anything,
Right.
they're all up in there.
Right.
And would you tell us about some of the awards? What are the awards for?
We have 6
Categories.
awards. They are the Multicultural Marketing Award, the Visionary Award for Design and Engineering, the Global Community Award, the Social Media Campaign a Year Award, and the favorite, the Multicultural TV Commercial of the Year Award. And then
Yes.
we have Lifetime Achievement. So, and this year it is Hao Tai Tang. I hope I'm saying that right. He is the Group Vice President of Ford Motor Company. He's a Lifetime Achievement winner for next year. So he just got notified this week. So we'll be posting that on the Auto Show Facebook page probably tomorrow or Friday.
Oh, that's great. That's great. And the food is good.
Yeah,
mean,
I
I'm
never
just
get to
saying-
eat it, but yeah.
I know, I know. It's great to be able to sit down there and watch, and you always have a young person do introduce the keynote
Yeah,
speaker.
that's our other tie-in. I think just by the way I was raised, my parents had me volunteering everywhere in Memphis. I mean, I was a docent at a museum. I mean, everything. And so I felt it was important with my event to involve students from various backgrounds. So we have culinary arts students from Pontiac. They come and learn about the hospitality industry. And then with Orchard Children's Services, we pick a student to be able to introduce the keynote speaker. And that has been life-changing for these kids. It builds their confidence up. They get to learn public speaking. They get to meet a celebrity. And I've seen these kids go from very shy to very, very confident. Emmanuel, who was our first student who introduced Magic Johnson, 2 years later, he was at an Orchard event. He was fundraising on behalf of Orchard. So he was networking and going up to these executives, you know, asking them for money on behalf of Orchards. So I saw, you know, the evolution of these kids. Devin is the same way. When he went to L.A. and Zafar Brooks flew us out there for
To
the Image Awards,
Mhm.
he was a different person. I mean, he really, really changed. Now, every time I see him, he has a suit on, and we had to,
Right.
like, force him, you know, to wear a
Right.
suit because he didn't really understand the significance of that. When he met Terrence Howard and Regina King, and he met all these people, he said, "Oh, I got to step my game up," you know, and it
Right.
changed him. So
Right,
that's why
right.
we include the students in that.
Absolutely, the growth and so forth of the students. So it's the kind of event anybody could go to.
Absolutely, it's very affordable. That's another thing that, you know, I try to keep that where it's affordable. I know people have questioned me and said, "Why don't you raise the prices?" Well, again, I have to go back to where I come from, small business owner. When I first started my business, I didn't have $250 to pay for a ticket. I just did not have it. But I had $75 where I could get in the room.
Right.
So that's why I always keep that general admission ticket, because even if you don't get to meet the speaker up close and personal, you can pay $75 and hear them and eat a good lunch and still make some
Right,
contacts.
absolutely. And once again, more, I want to thank Minister Malik Shabazz for
Yes.
giving us this time
Thank
this
you.
morning so that we can talk to these gentlemen and
Mm-hmm.
regale them and anticipate their arrival here in Detroit, because your event takes place the day before the
The charity
Charity
preview. It's
preview.
Thursday, January 14th at 11 a.m.
Right, I could always count on that. I always could count on that. You do that the same week.
Same
Okay,
time.
we have Zafar Brooks on the line, Director of Corporate Social Responsibility and Diversity Inclusion. Good morning, Zafar. Hello?
Good early morning to you, Mrs. Perryman. How are you?
Oh, fine. Well, I have Cheryl Ajamu here.
Hi, Cheryl.
Hi.
Hi, Cheryl.
And Mr. Ellis Liddell, who is the small business sponsor at the event this year at the Multicultural
Good.
Media Luncheon.
Good morning, Mr. Dow. How are you?
Good morning. Good morning.
And we are excited to, I know you're out there in California and it's only 6:19 in the morning, but but you're an early riser anyway.
I am indeed. I am indeed. It's never too early to get up and speak to you. It's always a great time to have a conversation.
You know, it's just a shame I only see you once a year. I gotta figure this out. I'm figuring some stuff. Listen.
Well, you have an open invitation. Come on out here.
Well, one time I'm going to get you here in the studio. I really want to do that. I really want to do that. But I have, you know, Hyundai has a big commitment to diversity, children's health and safety, education, arts and culture, volunteerism, and diversity. Some of your latest contributions include, and this is just major, $100 million in pediatric cancer cancer grant funding, to a new $1 million grant category. 3, a $1 million expansion to our STEM education initiative for public schools, which is really important. And 4, a new diversity initiative with the Congressional Hispanic Caucus Institute to training tomorrow's leaders today. And of course, there's Hope on Wheels. I know that's very close to your heart. So
Indeed.
why is community service so important to Hyundai and to yourself?
Sure. Well, first of all, thank you so much, Ms. Perryman, for having us on your show, and thank you to Cheryl Ajamu for allowing us again this year to partner with her in her amazing program that is really becoming a premier event at the North American International Auto Show. It's one of the events we enjoy coming to every year, and if it's January, I know I'm going to be in Detroit, and I'm going to have a great time there participating in such wonderful activities. First, it's with great pleasure, we have to be on your show, and thank you for mentioning some of the work that we do at Hyundai in the space of corporate social responsibility and diversity and inclusion. As you point out, there's a range of things that we've worked on. Our four primary areas of focus is children's health, education, volunteerism, and arts and cultural appreciation. And, we're a company that just believes in giving back to the communities in which we work and do business. We think that's an important part of our corporate values. We think it's an important part of being a responsible corporate citizen, and that is to be a part of the communities that we work with. We certainly have great respect and appreciation for those who support our products, and as a way to give back, we enjoy working with the marketplace. And so we've worked with our partners over the years to identify those priorities that align with, our values as well as an organization. And certainly overarching all of that is a commitment to diversity and inclusion. And some of the initiatives that you shared, and thank you for sharing those, are just among a list of some of the recent things we've done, and I'm happy to get into any detail, if you like, about any or all of those particular initiatives.
Oh, okay. I wanted to know a little more about the pediatric cancer grant funding.
Sure. So Hyundai has been involved in the space of pediatric cancer research since 1998. It really started in the Boston, Massachusetts area when a group of our employees and dealers decided they just wanted to do a little good and supported their local children's hospital, which is the Boston Dana-Farber Cancer Institute, or what many people know as the Jimmy Fund. And that small little, seed, if you like, that small mustard seed was sowed, and what actually emanated from that was a nationwide initiative. Over the last 17 years, we have now awarded $100 million in research grants that go to provide life-saving research for children who are diagnosed with cancer. The goal of the program is very simple. We want to help improve kids to survive cancer and improve the quality of life of kids who are diagnosed with cancer. In the time of this radio interview, every 36 minutes in the U.S., a child is diagnosed with cancer. In fact, what many of your listeners may not know is that 1 in 5 of those kids won't survive. And so what we've committed ourselves to is solving this really hard problem, and that is an issue that affects more families than any other disease in this country. Cancer is the leading cause of death by disease for children. And so rather than sort of being very dark about just the really the dark side of cancer, what we're trying to do is to find cures and trying to help more children survive this disease, because cancer is not something kids should get. And we think that working together with the healthcare community, the doctors, the researchers, that maybe one day in our lifetimes, that no kid would have to die from cancer again. So that's what that initiative is about. It's been 17 years. We go across the nation providing research grants. And in your community of Michigan, we've funded grants at Ann Arbor, at Detroit Mercy, at Lansing. And so we're very excited to continue that effort as we start our 18th year in that space.
Okay, just a reminder, this is a television show, and your handsome picture is up on the monitor. Yes.
Well, I have a face for radio, so I'm happy to be on the radio.
Well, listen, you've been in Montgomery, Alabama twice this year on commemorative events, and one of them, the first one was the Selma March, and then you just celebrated, you were just there last week. Would you tell our audience why?
I was, yes. So as many of your listeners or your viewers may know, that Hyundai has its U.S. manufacturing facility in Montgomery, Alabama. So we're proud to be a part of the Montgomery community and indeed one of the largest employers there in the state. My connection to Montgomery goes back. In fact, my daughters attended Tuskegee University, so I'm very much a part of that community as well. But we were there this year as there are two really big milestones in U.S. history that were seminal and parts of the civil rights movement. One of which was the 50th anniversary of the Selma to Montgomery March. And as many of us know, that set in motion what we know today as our Voting Rights Act. And so we were there to celebrate that with a number of leaders, including the President of the United States came down and made remarks. And so we were proud to be a part of that, and many of your representatives and leaders in the state of Michigan were there as well. And then secondly, we went down just this past week. We were there on December 1st, 1955, 60 years ago. Rosa Parks was arrested, which put in motion the Montgomery bus boycott, which was an important part of the civil rights movement and introduced us to one Dr. Martin Luther King. So we were there with Attorney Fred Gray, who was Dr. King's attorney and Rosa Parks' attorney. Attorney Gray still lives at 85 years old. He's vibrant. He continues to practice law. He's just a wonderful person and has become a great friend. And to celebrate that milestone with Attorney Gray and the president of the National Bar Association, Ben Crump, and others was a very special occasion for us. So two wonderful occasions that commemorate important parts of U.S. history and that collectively helped usher in what we know as the modern civil rights movement.
Oh, wow. That's fantastic. Now, you're coming next month for the Ajima Group Multicultural Media Luncheon. Why do you think this luncheon is important?
You know, I think it's just very important what Cheryl and her organization are doing. Inclusion is important, obviously, in our industry and indeed in our society to show that we all have something to offer, we all have something to give, and that together our differences make us stronger. We are just a stronger society, we are a stronger industry, and we are a stronger community. And so I think what Cheryl does every year, which is so amazing, is she pauses for just a moment to acknowledge those who have made so many contributions in this sector, many of whom are unsung heroes and heroines within the industry. And so to acknowledge that work that these men and women who have dedicated their professions to this industry, I think is worth recognizing. And not only does she do it in a very professional and enjoyable sort of way, she makes sure not to forget, those who often don't go recognized. So we thought that this was certainly a part of our values, to recognize the community, to be involved with those who are doing this hard work, and just to pause for a moment, to celebrate and to thank those who are doing such great work. So really on behalf of our industry and others who are supporters, we want to thank Cheryl for the leadership and the vision and the tenacity to stay with this program for so many years. She's a small business owner, but she's pretty mighty in what she gets done.
Right,
and so we're pretty excited to be a part of that.
Well, Zafar, we are excited about seeing you and Hyundai, and thank you so much for sponsoring the event, being that major sponsor, and you've stuck with her too
for 3 years. She's been our sponsor for 3 years, and we appreciate that.
We have, and we're glad to be her title sponsor in this event. And this event kicks off each year a series of things we do across the nation in our commitment to diversity. We just wrapped up a 4-city tour. Actually, today we wrap up a 4-city tour in Chicago with a women's event with an organization that is the media, the Mile High Media broadcast, and the program is called Salute Her. And it's an initiative that is working to recognize women of color and their contributions in business, in government, and in community leadership. And so finishing off that program this year and then coming into January right with Cheryl is a great way to start our year.
Well,
I do invite your viewers to go to our website, by the way, which is HyundaiDiversity.com, HyundaiDiversity.com. And you'll see on our landing page something we call Diversity in Action. And my goal with that is really to show people in real time the kind of things we're working on and how you can be involved with our organization. So, and if you'd like to learn more about our pediatric cancer research, go to our website, HyundaiHopeOnWheels.org. I'm going to email you, Brenda, a little video we just did with a holiday message, and I hope you'll share it with your followers on social media as well.
I will. I will. I really will. And thank you for Salute Her. I think that's so wonderful because there are so many women business owners, and it's about time they're recognized.
Yeah, I think it's awesome.
I think
Well,
It
this
should be
year-
on television, Safar.
Pardon?
Can you put it on TV?
Well, maybe we'll have to call Sheila Eldridge and let her know. But this year we were in Chicago, Atlanta, D.C., and New York as the 4 cities we tributed. And I look forward to next year's cities. Who knows? Maybe we'll be in Detroit, and we'll be able to recognize you two ladies for all the great work that you're doing as well. So thank you for being leaders in the community and what you're doing to represent and recognize so many others.
And thank you for coming on this morning. I know it's early, and I appreciate you waking up. All of us do.
Yeah.
And we look forward to seeing you in January.
We shall. Thank you so much, everybody. Have
And
a
you
really good holiday season, and take care of yourselves.
And have a wonderful day and a good holiday to you, too.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Thanks again.
Bye-bye. Just a nice gentleman.
Yeah,
Just a nice
awesome.
man. And he's so busy because I always look at the Hyundai website. He's so busy, and this Hope on Wheels program is such a great program, and he's been awarded for that, too.
Yeah. Yeah, he won, I think that was 2012.
2011.
It was 20, yeah, no, it's 2012. I think it was
Okay,
2012.
because I saw one for 2011. I was just looking at it this
can't
morning.
remember.
But
I can't remember.
but he got the award.
Yes, he did.
Yes,
win the
and
award for Hope on Wheels.
Smooth. At each step, he has endured challenges that would have derailed most.
He overcame so much adversity in his career with the Oakland Raiders.
A lot of guys would have come unglued.
But he remained undeterred, rising above every setback en route to record-setting glory.
Tim Brown with career catch number 1,000.
Tim on the football field was like poetry in motion. Get the ball in his hands and let him do the rest.
He's in the NFL Hall of Fame. He's in the College Hall of Fame. He won the Heisman, and he's a great human being. What better resume would you like on your tombstone?
This is the story of perseverance, family, and faith. This is Tim Brown's Road to Canton.
Wow, Tim Brown.
Yeah, yeah. It's gonna be a very unique presentation, I'm sure. Just because he's coming from a sports background, just his story of determination, hard work, and you can apply that regardless if you're coming from a sports industry or not. Would you agree?
You know what? The thing is that there's a lot of young people who do sports and they participate in sports. There's so many values that you get from sports other than scholarship to the
Teamwork.
next level. You learn teamwork. Absolutely, you learn teamwork.
Leadership skills.
You learn leadership. You learn how to handle rejection.
Right.
You know,
Oh,
coach sits you on
God.
the bench, and you've got to work your way back off that bench.
Humility.
Humility, without a doubt, and you learn respect.
Absolutely.
And you know, the most important thing you gain from it is your peers. You learn that it's not just about you. You got to take somebody up with you.
Right.
If you're a quarterback and you want to make it to the next level, you don't have anybody to catch the ball.
Right.
Then you're not going to ever get there. You can be the greatest quarterback in the world, but if they don't catch your passes, no one's going to know your stats.
Right, and my son was a college athlete, and he played pro and things like that. And in his position that he does now, he's one of the top 50 in the country in the business, in his company, because he's learned to gather people, to make them work for a cause, and so forth. You know, and that's very, very important. So Tim Brown has a lot of leadership skills. He has a lot of ideas. I've read a lot about him, so I'm really excited to talk to him. Good morning. Hello?
Good morning, good morning, good morning.
Good morning, Tim Brown. I'm Brenda Perryman. It's my show, and I have Cheryl Ajamu here, who is the
Producer of the
Right.
luncheon. Good morning, Mr. Brown. I'm producer of the Multicultural Media Luncheon, Cheryl Ajamu. Thanks for calling in.
And we have Mr. Ellis Liddell. He's a big shot here in Detroit. No, I'm
Big shot. Right.
No, you tell him what you do.
Hey, Tim, I'm a financial advisor, but unlike most people who call themselves financial advisors, I'm one of the few African Americans that own a broker-dealer. And it's the same license that I have. Charles Schwab had to get the same license, Merrill Lynch. So I have the ability to grow a company all throughout the United States. I'm also the small business sponsor this year for the event.
Yes.
Right. So we're excited about you coming.
But we're also big sports fans, so we got
Yes,
we got some stuff for you.
absolutely. My grandson plays football. Anyway, thank you so much, because I know it's early, but we have a few questions for you. And the first one is, you're the keynote speaker this year for the Ajma Group's Multicultural Media Luncheon. The theme of your speech is managing your brand image. Can you give us a clue to why that's important, managing your brand image?
Well, I was just talking to a young man last night who is potentially a first-round pick in the NFL coming up in the draft in April or May. And I was telling him, your brand is everything is everything that you want people to know about you, and the most important thing that you have to realize is that. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
You were
Oh,
listening.
okay, I'm sorry. I thought I heard something. The most important thing that you have to realize is that, while you're playing the game, it's one thing, but you are preparing yourself and setting yourself up for after you're done with the game. Now, if you're fortunate to play 17 years like I played, hey, look, at the end of the day, you're 38 years old, you still have to go and live a life.
Right,
and you want a name out there that everybody respects and everybody understands stands for something. And it's a very difficult thing right now when you have this social media world that these young folks live in, and they feel, this turn-up society that I said, would somebody please explain to me what turn-up means?
Really?
I still don't know
Really?
the definition of turn-up.
Really?
But this is the life that these kids are living, or the area of time that they're living in, and it's very difficult. It's a very difficult thing to do. But for me, what I decided at a very young age is, hey, this is who I was going to be. I wasn't going to tat myself up or put earrings in my ear because society told me that that's what I needed to do to be cool. I was going to be, the man that I thought God wanted me to be. But at the same time, I realized that cost me something, because I get letters in the mail today saying that I'm not representative of the African American community because I don't have tattoos and I don't have earrings and all that kind of stuff. So it's a very difficult stance that you have to take. But at the same time, I can look my kids in the eye and look everybody that I do business with in the eye and tell them that I'm trying to do the best I can possibly do.
You know what? It sounds like that value started in you when you were a lot younger. And one of the questions I had for you is, what advice would you give to other talented youth who want to achieve what you've done or more?
Well, I think when you look at the success that I've had, it's come because I've been willing to listen to people. I've been, when I was sophomore, junior, and going to be a junior at Notre Dame, I was on time to graduate, and to me that was the most important thing. But I had a coach who had just come to the university, Lou Holtz, who pulled me over and said, hey, look, I hear all the stories about you telling people that you came to Notre Dame for one reason, that was to get a great education. He said, you're doing that. You're on time to graduate, things are going well. But he told me you could be a better football player, and you need to do certain things on the football field to be a better football player. And it took me a couple of weeks to believe him and trust him, but once I did, I saw great things happen on the football field, and all of a sudden my football career went from being a guy who was just a guy on the football team to being All-American in my junior year. And so I think from that standpoint, it was, it was because I was willing to listen to somebody who was a coach, or, when I got to the NFL, I had a great friend, James Lofton, who was a receiver, who, basically took me under his wing and taught me how to play this game at the professional level. So, I think, when you look at some of our young kids, they're not willing to listen to the folks who have gone on before them. I have a son who's 26 years old, and I'm constantly telling him, look, man, I'm not going to be, beating you over the head with this stuff. I'm going to tell you what you should do, and if you don't want to do it, then you're going to have to deal with the consequences of it. So, and, I have football players who, guys guys who will call me up and say, "Hey Tim, look, man, I need to know everything you know." And you talk to them for 20 minutes, and they say, "Okay, I got it. I got everything that you know."
Right.
You know, so I mean, that's the issue that you're dealing with, man. And I think the more these young folks realize that there are people who have gone before them and can pave the way for them, you know, it can lead to a much more successful life for them.
Was it your senior year you got the Heisman, or was it the junior year?
My senior year, I got the Heisman. Yes.
So okay, so and you got Lou Holtz your junior year.
Yeah, he came in my junior year, going into my junior year. Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so therefore you had 2 seasons with him to
Right.
to hone your skills and get the Heisman. And I understand you were the first tight end to get the Heisman.
First wide receiver.
Wide receiver
yes.
to get it. Okay.
Yes.
All right.
And you know that was an amazing time. You know, obviously no one thought a wide receiver could win the Heisman, but you know I didn't win it just because I was a wide receiver, but I was returning punts and kickoffs, and that was really, you know, I was termed the most dangerous man in NCAA and college football at the time.
Wow.
But you know, so it was just one of those things, man. That you know, I went to Notre Dame for the right reason. That's to get a great education, and end up helping me out in football also, and put me in a position to win the Heisman Trophy. And you know, it's something that only one other receiver has done in the history of college football.
Wow. Now, Mr. Brown, this is Cheryl. I read that your mother didn't want you to play football, but you did it anyway. It was, I'm sure, was it clear to you that you just gonna, how did you handle that? Because I know, you didn't want to like disappoint your mother, but you felt something in your heart that you felt like it was something that you wanted to do.
Yeah, and kind of did you figure once she saw you do it,
she would be okay with it?
Yeah, you know, it was a real sensitive subject. My mom is deeply religious woman, and most of her fears of football wasn't just football; it was sports. Period. You know, I think in the early church when she was growing up, they used to teach you know, sports was the Antichrist. You know, and you could very well see how they can come to that conclusion. You know, because people get so caught up in sports that it takes over their whole life. You know, and so I think from that standpoint, she never wanted her kids to be involved with something that could take them away from God. And so that was the issue initially. And then you couple that with football and the possibility of being injured. You know, it was just really, really tough for her to say, yeah, this is something I love for my son to do. And so thankfully I had a pops who who was probably just the opposite, you know, and was all things football. So, and you know, he kept fighting the fight for me, and every time I come in to have the slip signed to, you know, she would never sign it, and he would. So, but you know, I think, you know, the great thing about my mom, you know, is even, you know, when I won the Heisman, she was like, okay, you've done something incredible. You can stop now. You know, even though an NFL career was, you know, I make a couple Pro Bowls in the NFL. She was like, well, you've proven that you can do it. Now you can stop. You know, so she was always in favor of me stopping. And of course, it took 17 years, and you know, I don't know if she ever got good with the situation, but at the same time, she understood that her son was, you know, in a position to change lives, and was hopefully, you know, going to be a man of God and be able to do that in the proper way.
Oh, great, great. Well, this is Brenda again, and you're a serial record breaker because you've broken so many records. Where did you get that work ethic?
You know, I tell people there's no doubt in my mind I got it from my father. You know, my father was a hard working man, you know, and you know, he worked construction jobs here in Dallas, and you know, there was not a morning that at 5:30 in the morning you didn't hear him rattling around in the kitchen, making his lunch and getting ready to get out the door. You know, he would get home between 4:30 and 5 every day, take him a little nap, and he owned a nightclub, so he would go up there for a couple of hours and 10:30 at night, he's back at the house, and the routine goes on and on and on. So, and that was his routine on a day-to-day basis. And the one thing I tell people about my father, there was not one time that I can remember my dad being home sick. I cannot remember my dad not going to work because he was sick, or because, he wanted to take a day off. I mean, he had some vacation days that we would, take and go down to see his parents in Louisiana. But I always remember my dad getting up, going to work. And so that was sort of my philosophy, when I played the game, is just get out the bed. Just get out the bed. If you can get out the bed, then, let's see what the next step is, and you just keep moving on, and before you know it, maybe you feel good enough to make it to practice. Maybe you feel good enough to go out and do what you need to do. And because once you get around your boys, you're going to get the adrenaline flowing, and all that's going to happen for you. So my whole deal was that if my father can do it, then I can do it. And so I was very thankful that was seeded in me from birth, I believe, and it's something that I always remembered throughout my career.
As Ellis mentioned, and you mentioned, you were the first wide receiver to receive the Heisman Trophy. That showed that you were meant to continue to stand out, but did it put any pressure on you once you got in the NFL to, I have to still achieve, I have to reach higher boundaries? Did that put pressure on you?
Yeah, no doubt about it. Because at that particular time, you didn't have a lot of Heisman winners coming in lighting up the NFL. So it was the Heisman Trophy jinx, really. So people were saying, asking me, well, can you do it at the next level? Can you return punts and kickoffs at the next level? And can you play the receiver position at the next level? And quite frankly, I didn't know if I could play the receiver position at the next level, because not initially. I thought it would take time because I would have to learn the game, because at Notre Dame, we were in the wishbone, I was in the backfield, I was in the slot, I was out wide, I did it all at Notre Dame. So just playing one position was going to be tough. But, the thing that I told people is I thought that I can come to the NFL, return punts and kickoffs right away, because I felt that was something I was gifted to do. And the very first time I touched the ball in the NFL on a kickoff return, the very first time I ever touched the ball, I returned the kickoff 97 yards for a touchdown. Wow. And so that took all the pressure off. Matter of fact, I had bought a Porsche before the season, and I was talking to James Lofton, and he was like, "Man, you can't bring that Porsche out here, because these boys, they want to see you go out and play this game, and you can't be riding up here this expensive little Porsche." So I was all disappointed, because I'm going to California, and that's the perfect car for California.
Right.
But it was so funny that during that game, when I returned that kickoff in the first game, James Lofton came up to me on the sideline and said, "You can bring that Porsche to LA. It's all good." So it was a situation where you had to go and prove yourself. But I think right away I showed people that I can make plays, and I can do what I need to do to be a player in the NFL.
You know what? And you're still making plays. Tell us about the Tim Brown Foundation.
Man, we're just trying to do as much as we can possibly do, as much as God allows us to do. We got a couple different projects going on now. One, we're helping a group called Ethos. We're helping a couple groups. Ethos Education Group, based here in Dallas. We teach character development in the schools. It's a program that we've been working on for the last 5 or 6 years. Has finally got a lot of traction down here in Texas. We were meeting up in Oakland last weekend with the superintendent of the Oakland school districts, and hope to implement the program up there relatively soon. So that program is something that I'm very proud of. Ellison Wall's a great cornerback for the Dallas Cowboys, is somebody who has partnered with me with that project. So we are very happy to be involved with that. There's another program I'm involved with up in South Bend, Indiana, called 5 Star Life. And 5 Star Life basically is a program that says, okay, 7,000 kids drop out of school every day. How can we reverse that number? And in order to do that, you can't catch them when they're in the 9th and 10th grade, because it's too late. You got to catch them when they're in the 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. And that's what we do. We go into these middle schools. We take the kids that everybody has deemed are going to be the kids who are going to drop out of school. And what we've been able to do, instead of 90% of those kids dropping out of school, 75% of those kids are now graduating from high school. So it's a program that we're very, very proud of, and it's something that we hope to be doing for years and years to come. Another thing that I'm involved with just happened recently, the last 6 months or so. Freddie Mac, the government agency, mortgage agency, came calling and said they needed help, if you can believe that, with trying to get the word out. So we came up with what we're calling the American Dream Home Ownership Initiative. The website is adhi81.org, and what we're doing is we're going to different cities and hitting the minority communities, African American and Hispanic communities, and basically we're coming in there with DITEC and Quicken Loans and Altera and with mortgage lenders who are saying, hey, look, if you go through these classes, if you sit through this seminar throughout the day, if you do what we ask you to do, then we're going to guarantee you a mortgage rate of 2 or 3% or something of that nature. And we're going to help you with your down payments. We're going to do all that kind of stuff. We're not going to let you get in the house until you know and everybody around you know that you are financially secure to handle this house. And so it's a program that we had our first seminar in Oakland last weekend. It was a great success. Detroit is on the list next year for that. So our next gig is going to be in Miami at the end of sometime in February. But I can get you by the time I get there, I'll know exactly when we're coming to Detroit. Okay. So I'm looking forward to that, and it's a really feel good project.
We'll help publicize that here on this television show too.
That would be great.
Okay. I saw the NFL enshrinement weekend where you were enshrined in the Hall of Fame, and that was my first time actually looking at it, and it was so exciting to me. How did that feel? Because it was so many great athletes in that room, when they introduced you guys and you put your yellow jackets on, all of that was just so exciting to me. How did that make you feel? Was it surreal for you?
It really was. I mean, it was one of those experiences that, you just got to go through. You can't think about what you're doing or where you're at. I went to Israel this year, and it was the same way in Israel. I mean, you can't think about the fact that you're walking where Jesus walked, or you're getting baptized in the Jordan River. I mean, you can't think it. You just got to do it, because if you think about it, you'd be out. You'd be out cold. So, and it was the same way at the Hall of Fame. I mean, it was such a unreal moment, or surreal moment, as you say, that I just kept telling myself, don't think, just do. Don't think, just do. Just keep moving on. Wow. And just keep doing what you need to do. And but it was, at the same time, somebody told me, Aeneas Williams, a great cornerback for the Arizona Cardinals, pulled me over and said, look, one thing that you have to do, you got to, at every event that you go to, you got to get in the corner by yourself and take it all in. And just, take it all in, because you don't want this to be a whirlwind, like what happened, like you wake up one morning and you don't know the whole weekend is gone. So that was something that I was able to do. I was able to, to get by myself at all these events and just really just look around and just take it all in and really enjoy the moment. And so it's one of those experiences that truly you can say is once in a lifetime, I'm going to go back up to the Hall of Fame hopefully every year for my own, but I'll never go up there like I went up there back in August. So from that standpoint, it was a great experience and one that I'll never ever forget.
Okay.
Oh, well, I'm going to quote you. You said, I like being the go-to guy. It puts pressure on me, but that's why you play the game. Can you break that down for us a little bit?
Yeah, I think that's obviously something you just you grow into. I can't say when I first started playing football that was something that I could, I would say to somebody that, oh, I want to be the guy, because, at that particular point you're trying to figure out what's going on. But by the time I got to my sophomore year in high school, I realized that I was probably the best football player on the team, the best athlete anywhere on the team. And, from that standpoint, if I couldn't get it done, then nobody was going to get it done. So I had to take on the attitude of, hey, look, bring it on. Put it on my shoulders, Coach. Let me try and get it done. If nobody else wants to get it done or can get it done, let me get it done. And that was sort of the way I rolled throughout, my college days. I mean, obviously, initially, I wasn't the guy at Notre Dame my first couple of years, but once everything changed and that became the scenario, I was all about it, and it was never a situation that I shied away from. If I had to come and crack back on the defensive end, put me in, Coach. If you want me to do it, I'm down for it. Let's go get it done. So I have a great rookie year in the NFL, and a lot of great things are happening. But I got Bo Jackson and Marcus Allen, and all these great guys who are incredible, established NFL football players. So I took a totally different role, and even though I had a great rookie year, made the Pro Bowl and broke Gail Sayers records and all that kind of stuff, it was a different kind of role. And then I got hurt my next year, so my role really diminished for the next couple, 2 or 3 years. But the end of '92 season, things really started to pick up, and coming into the '93 season, I was starting again, and that whole attitude of, hey, Coach, I'm your guy. If I can't get it done, nobody can get it done. I can remember my coach, Art Shell, used to always say, scared man can't win, scared man can't win. We were in a situation in Buffalo where we had a chance to win a game. It was 4th and 5, and we were at, midfield. And so if we don't get it, they're going to get the ball at midfield with a chance to go win the game. But if we get the first down, then the game is over. And so we're on the sideline, and he was talking about punting the ball, and I came up and yelled and screamed at him, throw me the ball. You get me the ball right now, the game will be over with. And I laughed about it because after the game, he did. We went for it. He threw me the ball. I caught it. We won the game. But after the game, he came up to me and said, boy, if you ever yell at me like that on sideline, then you're going to be fighting. So,
yeah.
But
Tim,
sometimes that bravado can maybe take you a little bit too far. But,
yeah.
I just really, I think my reasoning for saying that, a long way to answer your question, is that I always wanted to take pressure off my teammates. And so, hey, if it's a pressurized situation, put it on me, Coach. I can handle it. And I always felt like I was built to handle those type situations, and so I just never shied away from it.
Yeah, Tim, at the luncheon, we want you to take on, and I'm going to throw it back to Brenda in a second, we want you to take on the whole concussion. The movie will be out by then. We would have all seen it, but we want you to talk about it, and we'll save that for the luncheon, okay?
Yeah, during the Q&A.
Yep,
so get ready for that. Everybody's so excited to see you here.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, my response should probably be a little different than what a lot of people think, but at the same time, I know it's a subject that is on everybody's mind.
Right.
Yes.
Everybody's mind, and rightfully so. Should be.
Well, thank you so much for getting up. You're in Dallas?
I'm in Dallas. Yeah, I'm only an hour behind. I've been up since 6 this morning, getting the kids up and ready, and getting them out the door. So
regular parenting duties. So we will see you in a few weeks.
Yes, and thank you again, Mr. Brown. We really appreciate it. It has been an awesome experience working with your team, and we are so excited for you to come to Detroit. Thank you for working with our small company and giving us this opportunity. We really appreciate it.
Thank you, guys. I'm looking forward. It should be a great time.
It will be a great time. Thank you.
Have a great day.
Okay. All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.